Imagine living a life where you work less but achieve more, travel the world without quitting your job, and have the freedom to do what truly matters. Sounds like a dream, right? The 4-Hour Workweek by Timothy Ferriss turns this dream into a blueprint for reality. In this video, I'll break down the key lessons from this game-changing book, including how to escape the 9-to-5 grind, automate your income, and design a life you love. Whether you want to travel, start a business, or simply reclaim your time, this guide has you covered. Ready to change your life? Let's dive in. Definition. Defining success has always seemed straightforward. Work hard, make money, and eventually retire to enjoy the fruits of your labor. But what if we've been getting it all wrong? Timothy Ferriss challenges this traditional mindset in the 4-Hour Workweek, introducing the idea of the new rich, NR, a group of people who have redefined wealth not by how much money they accumulate, but by the freedom and fulfillment they can create in their lives. This concept isn't just about earning more. It's about designing a life that allows you to prioritize time, mobility, and purpose over the grind of endless work. Think about it. What's the point of working for decades if it only gets you to a point where you're too tired or old to enjoy what you've earned? Ferriss argues that retirement, as a concept, is fundamentally flawed. Why delay living until the end? Instead of waiting for retirement, the new rich aim to integrate freedom into their lives now, using strategies that challenge the norms of traditional success. This isn't just about wishful thinking or lofty dreams. It's a practical shift in mindset that involves being deliberate with how you define your goals and what you're working toward. One of Ferriss's most powerful tools for achieving this redefinition of success is dreamlining. Dreamlining flips the conventional idea of goal setting on its head. Instead of vague aspirations like save for retirement or get a promotion, dreamlining asks you to imagine your ideal lifestyle and turn it into a series of actionable, time-bound steps. The key here is specificity. It's not about saying, I want to travel more. It's about envisioning the exact trip you want, from the destination to the type of experiences you'd have, and then calculating how much it would cost and when you can make it happen. For example, let's say your dream is to spend a month working remotely from a coastal town in Italy. Dreamlining would break this into manageable pieces, researching locations, finding affordable accommodation, understanding your monthly expenses, and figuring out how to sustain your income while you're there. This approach forces you to be realistic but also optimistic. It bridges the gap between daydreams and actual plans. Ferriss's idea is that when you know precisely what you want, you can reverse engineer your way to achieving it. The beauty of dreamlining is how it ties directly into time management. We often feel like we don't have time to pursue our dreams because we're so caught up in day-to-day obligations. Ferriss encourages us to scrutinize how we spend our time and eliminate anything that doesn't align with our larger goals. This involves asking tough questions. How much of your day is spent on tasks that genuinely move the needle versus ones that just keep you busy? For the new rich, time isn't something to be filled, it's something to be optimized. A personal story comes to mind here. A few years ago, I was working long hours at a job I thought would lead me to success. But when I stopped to reflect, I realized I wasn't any closer to the life I wanted. I had no time to pursue my hobbies, travel, or spend quality moments with my family. Inspired by the principles Ferriss outlines, I decided to apply dreamlining to my own life. My first goal was simple: take 2 weeks off to visit Japan, a place I'd always dreamed of exploring. By breaking it into smaller steps, budgeting, finding remote work opportunities, and delegating responsibilities, I was able to turn that goal into reality within 6 months. That trip didn't just fulfill a dream, it also gave me the confidence to rethink how I approached work and time altogether. A big part of achieving this shift is overcoming procrastination, a major barrier for many of us. When we think about our goals, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by their scale and complexity. Ferriss offers a remedy: start small, but start now. Instead of trying to overhaul your entire life overnight, focus on 1 or 2 areas where you can make immediate improvements. For instance, if your goal is to free up more time for personal projects, start by auditing your daily schedule. Identify tasks that you can delegate, automate, or eliminate altogether. Even small adjustments, like setting boundaries around email or limiting unnecessary meetings, can create pockets of time that add up significantly. Automation is another cornerstone of the new rich mindset. Ferriss emphasizes the power of outsourcing and leveraging technology to handle routine tasks, freeing you to focus on what truly matters. For example, if you're spending hours each week managing household chores or administrative work, consider hiring virtual assistants or using apps that streamline these processes. The goal isn't to avoid work entirely, but to focus on high-impact activities that align with your dream lifestyle. Mobility also plays a crucial role in this redefinition of success. The new rich don't just aim to escape the office. They aim to work from anywhere, whether it's a beach in Bali or a cafe in Paris. This level of freedom requires intentional planning but is increasingly accessible thanks to remote work opportunities and digital tools. If you've ever thought about starting a side hustle, freelancing, or building an online business, now is the time to explore those options. These ventures can serve as stepping stones toward greater autonomy and flexibility in your life. Ultimately, redefining wealth and success through Ferriss's framework is about reclaiming control. It's about rejecting the default path society has laid out and creating one that aligns with your values and aspirations. This isn't just about dreaming big. It's about daring to believe that those dreams are achievable and then doing the work to make them happen. When you adopt this mindset, you stop measuring success by traditional markers like job titles or bank balances and start measuring it by the richness of your experiences and the freedom to pursue what makes you happy. Elimination. Imagine waking up each day knowing exactly what needs your attention and what doesn't. Your to-do list is clear, your mind is focused, and you're finally making real progress toward your goals. That's the power of elimination, a principle Timothy Ferriss outlines in the 4-Hour Workweek to help you streamline your work and reclaim your time. At its core, elimination is about focusing on what truly matters and cutting out everything else. It's not just about working smarter, it's about working less and achieving more by being ruthless about where you direct your energy. The first step in mastering elimination is understanding the 80-20th principle. This idea, also known as the Pareto principle, suggests that 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. In other words, a small portion of what you do each day drives most of your success. The trick is to figure out what that 20% is and double down on it. Think about your daily tasks. How many of them are genuinely impactful? How many are just busy work? For me, this realization was life-changing. When I applied the 80-20 rule to my own schedule, I found that most of my results came from just a few key activities, like deep work on important projects and meaningful conversations with clients. Everything else? It was just noise. Selective ignorance is another game-changer Ferriss introduces. It's about choosing not to know things that don't serve your goals. In a world that bombards us with information, this is crucial. Do you really need to read every email, follow every trend, or stay up to date on every piece of news? Probably not. Selective ignorance gives you permission to tune out the irrelevant and focus on what moves the needle. For me, this meant unsubscribing from dozens of email newsletters, limiting my social media use, and even setting boundaries around when and how people could contact me. The result? A sharper focus and a sense of control over my time. Saying no is a critical skill in the elimination process, and it's one that many of us struggle with. We're conditioned to be helpful, to accommodate others, and to avoid conflict. But every yes you say to something unimportant is a no to something that truly matters. Learning to say no isn't just about setting boundaries. It's about protecting your time and energy. Ferriss suggests using a polite but firm approach. I'd love to help, but I'm focusing on insert priority right now. I've personally found that people respect this honesty more than I expected. Once you start saying no to distractions, you'll be amazed at how much space you create for what truly matters. Interruptions are one of the biggest killers of productivity, and Ferriss emphasizes the importance of minimizing them to stay in the zone. How often do you get derailed by a notification, an unexpected phone call, or someone dropping by your workspace? These small disruptions can completely throw off your flow, making it harder to refocus and get back on track. Ferriss recommends setting up systems to limit interruptions, turning off non-essential notifications, creating do not disturb hours, or even using apps that block distractions. Personally, I've found time blocking to be incredibly effective. I dedicate specific blocks of time to focused work, and during those hours, I ignore emails, silence my phone, and make it clear to others that I'm unavailable. Multitasking is another trap we often fall into, believing it makes us more efficient. But the reality is, trying to juggle multiple tasks at once only splits your attention and reduces the quality of your work. Ferriss makes it clear that multitasking is the enemy of true productivity. Instead, he advocates for single tasking, focusing on one thing at a time until it's done. I remember a time when I used to pride myself on handling emails, meetings, and reports simultaneously. But when I started single tasking, I realized how much faster and better I could complete each task. The sense of accomplishment that comes with finishing something completely is far more satisfying than juggling several things poorly. One powerful exercise Ferriss recommends is conducting a time audit. For a week, track everything you do during your workday, every meeting, email, task, and break. At the end of the week, review the list and ask yourself, which of these activities were truly necessary? Which could have been delegated, automated, or eliminated altogether? When I did this, I was shocked at how much time I wasted on low-value tasks. By eliminating or outsourcing those activities, I was able to focus on what really mattered and dramatically improve my efficiency. Automation can also play a significant role in the elimination process. While it's not always about outright removing tasks, it's about finding ways to handle them with minimal effort. For example, if you spend hours each week scheduling appointments, consider using an automated scheduling tool. If managing finances is a headache, look into apps that track expenses and send reminders. Automation allows you to free up mental bandwidth for tasks that require your creativity and expertise. At its heart, elimination is about regaining control of your time. It's about being intentional with every hour, saying no to distractions, and creating a life that aligns with your values and goals. When you commit to eliminating what doesn't serve you, you'll find that you have more time and energy for what truly matters, whether that's pursuing your dreams, spending quality time with loved ones, or simply enjoying the present moment. This isn't just a productivity hack. It's a mindset shift that can transform the way you live and work. A. Automation. Automation is a game changer when it comes to reclaiming your time and energy. At its core, automation is about building systems that work for you so you can focus on what truly matters. Whether it's delegating tasks to others, leveraging technology, or setting up processes that run on autopilot, automation allows you to eliminate decision fatigue and maximize your productivity. Imagine waking up in the morning knowing that your calendar is already organized, your bills are paid, and your work processes are humming along without constant oversight. That's the kind of freedom automation can create. The first step is learning to delegate effectively. Many of us fall into the trap of thinking we have to do everything ourselves, but the truth is, not every task requires your personal attention. Repetitive or low-value tasks, like responding to routine emails, managing schedules, or even researching, can be handed off to virtual assistants or team members. Ferriss highlights how virtual assistants can be a powerful tool for this. Platforms like Upwork or Fiverr offer access to skilled professionals who can take on tasks that drain your time. For example, I used to spend hours each week organizing spreadsheets and chasing down minor details for projects. Once I hired a virtual assistant, those tasks disappeared from my plate, freeing me to focus on strategic work. The key is identifying what's worth your time and what can be delegated. Another critical area for automation is passive income. Creating streams of income that generate money with minimal ongoing effort is one of the most effective ways to free yourself from the daily grind. Online businesses, investments, and digital products are excellent examples of passive income strategies. Ferriss emphasizes the importance of building businesses that don't require your constant involvement. For instance, setting up an e-commerce store with dropshipping or creating a digital course based on your expertise can become sources of income that run independently. I remember launching my first passive income project, a series of templates I designed for productivity tools. Initially, it took time to create and market, but once it was live, the sales rolled in without any additional effort on my part. Financial automation is another game changer. The less time you spend managing money, the more time you have for everything else. Start by automating your bill payments, savings contributions, and investments. Tools like budgeting apps and financial platforms can help you set up recurring payments and even optimize your spending patterns. For instance, I use an app to automatically allocate a portion of my income to savings and investments every month. Not only does this reduce the mental effort of budgeting, but it also ensures that I'm consistently building wealth without even thinking about it. Decision fatigue is real, and automating finances is a simple yet powerful way to reduce it. Operational aspects of your life can also benefit from automation. Think about the tasks that eat away at your time each day, things like grocery shopping, meal planning, or managing household chores. Services like grocery delivery apps, meal kits, and home maintenance subscriptions can streamline these activities, leaving you with more time to focus on your priorities. For example, I used to dread the weekly grocery trip. Now, I use an app to order my groceries, and they're delivered to my doorstep while I'm working on something meaningful. It's a small change, but it adds up over time. Technology is a crucial ally in automation. From project management tools to email filters, there's no shortage of ways to streamline your workflow. Ferriss suggests using automation to handle the repetitive aspects of your work. For instance, setting up email autoresponders can save you hours each week by answering common queries without requiring your input. Similarly, using task management tools like Trello or Asana can help you stay organized without constantly juggling sticky notes and to-do lists. I've personally found that integrating automation tools into my workflow not only saves time but also reduces stress. Knowing that certain tasks are being handled in the background allows me to focus fully on my creative work. Outsourcing isn't just for business, it can apply to your personal life too. Tasks like cleaning, landscaping, or even errands can be handed off to professionals. It might feel indulgent at first, but consider this: every hour you spend doing something that doesn't align with your goals or bring you joy is an hour you can't get back. When I started outsourcing household chores, I realized how much more energy I had for my passions and personal growth. It's not about laziness, it's about being strategic with your time. The beauty of automation is that it allows you to focus on what truly matters, whether that's growing your business, spending time with loved ones, or simply enjoying life. Ferriss stresses that time is your most valuable resource, and automation helps you protect it. It's not about eliminating effort entirely, it's about redirecting it toward activities that have the greatest impact. By building systems that run on their own, you create space for the things that light you up, the things that align with your purpose. Ultimately, automation is about designing a life that works for you, not the other way around. It requires an upfront investment of time and thought, but the payoff is immense. You'll find yourself less stressed, more focused, and more productive. And perhaps most importantly, you'll gain the freedom to live life on your own terms. Liberation. Liberation is the ultimate goal of redefining work and success, and it's not just about escaping the 9-to-5 grind. It's about creating a life that aligns with your dreams and values. To achieve this, you need to embrace flexibility and mobility, breaking free from traditional work constraints. It starts with recognizing that the old rules about where and how you work no longer apply. Ferriss introduces the concept of mini-retirements as a way to test-drive lifestyle changes before fully committing to them. Instead of waiting decades to retire and finally enjoy life, why not sprinkle those moments of freedom throughout your journey? Imagine taking a few months to live in a different country, learn a new skill, or simply recharge. These experiences not only enrich your life but also help you refine your vision of what true freedom looks like. One of the first steps toward liberation is transitioning to remote work. If you're currently in a traditional office job, this might seem daunting, but it doesn't have to happen all at once. Start small. Negotiate 1 day a week to work from home, then gradually increase your remote days as you prove your productivity and reliability. The key is to focus on results rather than hours worked. When I first proposed remote work to my employer, I emphasized how it would allow me to deliver better outcomes by reducing distractions and time lost to commuting. Over time, I transitioned to full-time remote work, and the flexibility transformed my life. I could structure my days around my energy levels, tackle deep work during my peak focus hours, and still have time for personal growth and family. For entrepreneurs, liberation often means building a business that's not tied to a specific location. This requires adopting a mobility mindset, designing systems and processes that allow you to work from anywhere in the world. Thanks to technology, this is more achievable than ever. Tools like cloud-based storage, project management platforms, and video conferencing software make it easy to stay connected and productive no matter where you are. I remember launching my first online venture with the goal of being location independent. It wasn't just about the freedom to travel. It was about the ability to design my days around what truly mattered to me. The mobility mindset isn't just practical, it's empowering. It reminds you that you're not bound by geography, giving you the confidence to explore new opportunities and experiences. Another aspect of liberation is embracing the idea that work and life don't have to be separate entities. The traditional work-life balance model often feels like a juggling act, with one side constantly tipping the scales. Instead, think about integration. What if your work fueled your passions and supported your lifestyle rather than competing with it? Mini retirements can be a great way to explore this. Take a sabbatical or an extended vacation to focus on something you've always wanted to do. Whether it's learning a new language, starting a creative project, or volunteering, these breaks can help you recalibrate and find clarity about your next steps. When I took my first mini retirement, I spent 3 months learning digital marketing while traveling. Not only did I come back with a new skill set, but I also gained a fresh perspective on what I wanted from my career. To truly embrace liberation, you must also let go of the fear that often holds us back. Fear of instability, fear of judgment, and fear of failure can all keep us tethered to the familiar, even when it no longer serves us. Ferriss suggests reframing these fears by asking yourself, what's the worst that could happen? Often, the worst-case scenario isn't as catastrophic as we imagine. When I considered leaving a stable job to pursue remote work and entrepreneurship, I was terrified of financial uncertainty. But I made a plan, saved a cushion, and reminded myself that I could always return to a traditional role if needed. That mindset shift gave me the courage to take the leap, and it's a decision I've never regretted. Liberation is also about aligning your work with your values. It's easy to get caught up in the pursuit of financial success or societal approval, but these goals often leave us feeling unfulfilled. What truly matters to you? Is it spending more time with loved ones, exploring the world, or pursuing creative passions? Whatever it is, build your work around those priorities. For example, I've always valued learning and personal growth, so I designed a career that allows me to constantly acquire new skills and knowledge. By prioritizing what matters most, you create a life that feels rich and meaningful, even if it doesn't conform to traditional definitions of success. As you work toward liberation, remember that it's not an all-or-nothing journey. Small steps can lead to big changes over time. Start by identifying one area where you can create more freedom, whether it's negotiating a flexible work schedule, delegating tasks, or exploring passive income opportunities. Each step you take builds momentum, bringing you closer to the life you envision. Ferriss emphasizes that liberation isn't about escaping work entirely. It's about designing work that serves your life rather than consuming it. When you take control of where, when, and how you work, you unlock the ability to live on your own terms. The beauty of liberation is that it looks different for everyone. For some, it might mean working from a beachside cafe in Bali. For others, it might mean having the flexibility to pick their kids up from school every day. The common thread is freedom. Freedom to choose, freedom to create, and freedom to live. As you embrace this mindset, you'll discover that true wealth isn't measured by money or status, but by the quality of your experiences and the alignment between your work and your values. The rules of automation. Automation is not about completely removing the human touch, but about leveraging systems and tools to streamline operations and free up time for more meaningful work. The key to successfully automating your life and business is knowing which tasks to automate, how to integrate systems, and balancing efficiency with personalization. This balance allows you to scale while maintaining a connection with clients, customers, and colleagues. One of the first steps in automation is choosing the right tools. Autoresponders, for example, are a simple yet powerful way to handle repetitive tasks like email follow-ups or appointment reminders. By automating these processes, you reduce the mental load of constant communication, ensuring that you can focus on tasks that require deeper thinking and creativity. Scheduling software is another game changer, especially when you find yourself constantly battling with back-and-forth emails just to find a suitable meeting time. Tools like Calendly or Acuity Scheduling allow clients or team members to book time based on your availability, automatically adjusting for time zones, and reducing those administrative headaches. I remember when I first started using scheduling software, what was once a time-consuming process of checking calendars and confirming appointments became effortless. It not only saved hours each week but also improved my professional image by allowing others to see me as organized and efficient. This small change in how I approached scheduling freed me up to focus on higher-value activities, like brainstorming ideas or meeting with clients. Project management platforms like Asana or Trello take automation to the next level by helping you track tasks, assign responsibilities, and monitor progress without constant check-ins. These tools allow you to create workflows and automate reminders, making it easy to stay on top of multiple projects. One of the most important lessons I learned while using project management tools is the power of clear communication. Automation helps you avoid micromanagement, but it also requires a clear, structured framework to ensure that everyone is on the same page. By setting up clear expectations, deadlines, and workflows, you reduce the need for constant oversight while ensuring tasks are completed on time. While these tools simplify operations, they also have a powerful secondary benefit: reducing decision fatigue. Every day, you make dozens, if not hundreds, of decisions. From the mundane, what to have for lunch, to the significant, which client project to prioritize, each choice drains a bit of your mental energy. By automating the tasks that don't require personal input, you free up your mental capacity for the decisions that truly matter. I've personally found that the more I automate, the clearer my thinking becomes. The simpler my systems, the easier it is to stay focused on long-term goals rather than getting caught up in the minutiae of day-to-day tasks. But while automation can help simplify many aspects of business, it's crucial to remember that not everything should be automated. There's a fine line between automation and impersonality. For example, auto-generated emails can sometimes feel cold or generic, which can negatively affect relationships with clients or customers. This is where balancing automation with personalization comes in. The goal is to maintain the efficiency and convenience that automation provides without sacrificing the quality and personal connection that build trust and loyalty. Personalization doesn't have to be time-consuming. It can be as simple as adding a personal touch to an automated email or taking a moment to acknowledge a customer's specific needs. I've found that a quick, personalized follow-up after an automated email can strengthen the connection, making clients feel valued without losing the time-saving benefits of automation. Another key aspect of automation is outsourcing effectively. The more you grow, the more tasks pile up. At this point, outsourcing becomes not just a luxury but a necessity. However, outsourcing requires careful planning and clear communication. It's easy to think that outsourcing will solve all your problems, but if you don't set expectations and provide clear instructions, it can end up being more time-consuming than doing the task yourself. I've had my own share of outsourcing failures where the work didn't meet expectations, but it taught me a valuable lesson in the importance of clarity. The best results come when you communicate specific, measurable outcomes and maintain a results-oriented mindset. Set clear goals, use collaborative tools, and check in periodically to ensure that the work is on track. By focusing on outcomes, not processes, you can leverage the strengths of your team or contractors without getting bogged down in the details. The real challenge of automation isn't the tools themselves. It's knowing what to automate and what to keep personal. This requires reflection on where your time is best spent. You can't automate everything. Some relationships, whether with customers, clients, or team members, require a human touch. And some creative processes demand full engagement. But by automating repetitive tasks, setting up systems to track progress, and outsourcing administrative work, you're creating an environment where your time is better allocated to the work that drives growth, innovation, and success. I've had to come to terms with the fact that not everything can be automated, But the more I automate the right things, the more energy and creativity I have to spend on what truly matters. Ultimately, the key to successful automation is to make it an extension of your vision, not a replacement for it. When implemented correctly, automation frees you from the mundane and repetitive, allowing you to focus on the strategic, the creative, and the meaningful. The time you save can be reinvested into projects that require your personal input, improving the quality of your work and the value you provide to your clients or customers. Outsourcing life. Outsourcing is one of the most effective ways to boost productivity and free up time for the tasks that truly matter, both in your personal and professional life. However, it's not as simple as just handing off tasks to someone else. It's about choosing the right people, managing expectations, and setting up systems that ensure smooth collaboration. When I first started outsourcing, I thought it would be as easy as hiring someone to take over certain tasks, but I quickly realized that it involved a bit more thought and strategy to get it right. The key to successful outsourcing lies in choosing the right service providers or assistants who align with your specific needs and vision. The first step in outsourcing effectively is identifying what tasks can be delegated. At first, it may seem like everything can be outsourced, but I've learned over time that it's essential to focus on repetitive or low-priority tasks that don't require your expertise. For example, things like scheduling meetings, managing emails, handling customer inquiries, and even research can all be outsourced to virtual assistants or specialized freelancers. However, tasks that require deep strategic thinking or personal touch, like making critical business decisions or building relationships with clients, should remain under your control. I found that once I understood what I could and couldn't outsource, it became much easier to find the right people for each task. Choosing the right service providers is one of the most important aspects of outsourcing. You need to find people who have the specific skills you need, but also those who can work well with you and understand your needs. When I first outsourced, I made the mistake of hiring based solely on price, but over time, I realized that the quality of work and reliability were far more important. It's tempting to go for the cheapest option, but if the person doesn't have the expertise or experience required, you end up spending more time correcting mistakes or redoing the work than you would have if you had just done it yourself. For example, when I needed help with graphic design, I hired someone based on their low rates, but the quality wasn't what I expected. It was a learning experience that taught me to prioritize quality and professionalism over cost alone. Once you've found the right people, building trust and rapport with your team is key. Trust isn't something that develops overnight, but by providing consistent feedback, setting clear expectations, and communicating regularly, you can build strong working relationships that allow for seamless collaboration. I learned early on that clear communication is essential for effective outsourcing. Whether it's outlining project goals, providing detailed instructions, or offering constructive feedback, being proactive in communication helps ensure that tasks are completed on time and to the standard you expect. For instance, when working with a virtual assistant to manage customer emails, I made sure to establish a comprehensive email template and tone guide so that responses were consistent and professional, even though I wasn't the one replying. This saved me hours every week without sacrificing the quality of customer service. Feedback is another critical element of outsourcing that I learned to embrace. Initially, I was reluctant to provide feedback, thinking it might discourage my assistants or freelancers. However, I quickly realized that feedback is essential for growth and improvement. By offering both positive and constructive feedback, you guide your team toward understanding what works and what doesn't. This helps refine their performance, allowing them to be more efficient and effective. At the beginning of my outsourcing journey, I was vague with feedback, and the results weren't as good as I had hoped. Over time, I learned to be specific and timely with my feedback, which resulted in better work and less rework. Being mindful of cultural differences is another factor I hadn't considered when I first started outsourcing. When you're working with people from different countries or backgrounds, it's important to recognize that their communication styles, work habits, and time perceptions may differ from yours. For example, some cultures value directness, while others may be more indirect. In my experience, when outsourcing work to someone in another country, it's important to take the time to understand their cultural norms and expectations. This not only helps foster better communication, but also builds mutual respect. I remember a time when a freelancer I worked with didn't meet a deadline. After discussing the issue, I realized that my expectations for turnaround time were unrealistic given their local holidays and time zone. Once we aligned our expectations, our collaboration became much more successful. Setting realistic deadlines is also crucial to ensuring that your outsourced tasks are completed efficiently. While outsourcing can save you time in the long run, it's essential to provide ample time for the person to complete the work to a high standard. Early on, I would often set overly ambitious deadlines, expecting things to be done faster than was realistic. However, I learned that rushing through tasks often resulted in subpar work. Now, I make sure to give my team enough time to produce high-quality results, and I also buffer in some extra time to account for any unexpected delays or issues. Setting realistic deadlines not only ensures that tasks are completed on time but also reduces stress and prevents last-minute rushes. Outsourcing isn't just about delegating tasks to others. It's about building systems that allow you to focus on what matters most. For example, I've set up processes that allow my team to handle things like customer service or administrative tasks without my constant involvement. This way, I can focus on growing my business, improving my content, and connecting with clients, all while ensuring that everything else is taken care of. One of the most impactful changes I made was automating some of the tasks I outsourced, such as setting up regular reporting or scheduling posts on social media. This combination of outsourcing and automation allows me to maximize my time and productivity. Lastly, it's important to remember that outsourcing isn't a one-size-fits-all solution. Some tasks are better suited for outsourcing than others, and it's important to evaluate each task to determine if it's worth delegating. I learned to be selective about what I outsource, choosing only tasks that can be delegated without compromising the quality or integrity of my work. By focusing on the right tasks and choosing the right people, outsourcing has allowed me to grow my business and increase efficiency without sacrificing the quality of my work or personal life. Mini retirements. The concept of mini retirements completely shifts the traditional idea of retirement. Instead of waiting until the end of your career to take long breaks and finally pursue your passions, mini retirements allow you to take meaningful breaks throughout your life. I first came across the idea while reading the 4-Hour Workweek, and it hit me. Why do we work ourselves to the bone for decades with the promise of a distant future when we can't fully enjoy it? The idea of saving up for retirement seems like an outdated approach when you could be spending time exploring new passions, learning skills, and experiencing the world now. Mini retirements allow you to take these extended breaks at various points in your life, giving you a chance to refresh, recharge, and invest in your personal growth and happiness. A mini retirement isn't just about taking a long vacation. It's about stepping away from the usual work grind for an extended period to focus on something meaningful. For example, I decided to take a mini retirement when I was feeling burned out and needed a fresh perspective on life. Instead of simply taking a week off, I planned a month-long trip to a new country. I spent the time learning a new language, immersing myself in a new culture, and working on creative projects that I had neglected while grinding away at work. This wasn't just about relaxation. It was about shifting my focus from the constant rush of life to something more fulfilling. The freedom to do what I wanted on my own terms, without the usual pressures, was refreshing. One of the key aspects of a successful mini retirement is being intentional about how you use that time. The purpose isn't simply to escape work, but to dive deeper into passions, hobbies, or projects that can help you grow. Perhaps you've always wanted to learn to play an instrument, explore a new city, or write a book. A mini retirement allows you to explore these interests fully without the distractions of daily responsibilities. The idea is to treat these periods as investments in yourself, your future happiness, and your personal development. For me, the trip was more than just a change of scenery. It became a transformative experience that influenced how I approach work, relationships, and life in general. But planning a mini retirement requires a certain level of financial and logistical preparation. These extended breaks can be costly, and it's important to budget and save appropriately to make them feasible. I learned this the hard way when I first attempted to take a mini retirement without properly budgeting for it. I hadn't accounted for all the costs, flights, accommodations, food, and miscellaneous expenses, which led to unnecessary stress during the trip. After that, I learned the importance of planning and saving well in advance for these breaks. By setting a specific goal for savings and adjusting my lifestyle in the months leading up to the mini-retirement, I was able to fully enjoy the experience without financial worries. Another important factor to consider when planning a mini-retirement is time management. Unlike traditional vacations, which are usually short and often filled with distractions, a mini-retirement requires intentional planning to ensure that the time is spent effectively. For example, I structured my month-long break by allocating time for self-improvement, whether it was through learning a new skill, reading, or exploring a new industry. However, I also made time for relaxation and reflection, knowing that it was just as crucial for recharging mentally and emotionally. The beauty of a mini-retirement is that it's flexible, allowing you to design the experience that best suits your needs. You may be wondering how to sustain these mini-retirements throughout your life without jeopardizing your financial stability or career. The key is to integrate these breaks into your long-term lifestyle in a way that feels sustainable. While taking a mini-retirement may require temporary sacrifices, such as cutting back on spending or downsizing your lifestyle, it doesn't mean you have to give up everything. The balance lies in setting up systems, like passive income streams, that allow you to fund these breaks without constantly working. For instance, after my first mini-retirement, I focused on automating my business and outsourcing tasks so that I could take longer breaks without losing income or progress. This way, the mini-retirements didn't feel like a financial burden but rather an integral part of my lifestyle that I could continuously enjoy. Mini-retirements are not only about exploring hobbies or traveling. They're also a way to recalibrate your life and goals. Many people work for years on end, accumulating wealth but not taking the time to reflect on whether it aligns with their true desires. A mini-retirement gives you the opportunity to step away from the usual routine and ask yourself deeper questions. Am I doing what I really want to do? What would I do if I had more time and freedom? For me, this introspective aspect was the most valuable part of the mini-retirement. It allowed me to gain clarity on my values and life direction, which I could then apply to my work, relationships, and lifestyle moving forward. The beauty of mini-retirements is that they're not a one-time thing. They can be integrated into your life in a way that creates a pattern of self-care, personal development, and exploration. In a world where the traditional model of work and retirement is constantly being questioned, mini-retirements offer an alternative that prioritizes your mental health, passions, and experiences. Instead of waiting until you're in your 60s or 70s to slow down, you can start designing your ideal lifestyle today. With careful planning, financial foresight, and a commitment to your personal growth, mini-retirements allow you to take control of your time, happiness, and future, filling the void. When you finally achieve the kind of freedom that the 4-hour workweek promises, it can be both exhilarating and overwhelming. At first, the idea of having time to do whatever you want is incredibly liberating. No more clocking in, no more emails to respond to, no more meetings to attend. However, after the initial rush of excitement, you may start to feel aimless, wondering how to fill all that newfound free time. It's a strange void that can leave you wondering, what now? This is a common challenge for many people who escape the traditional 9-to-5 grind, and it's important to recognize that the freedom you've gained needs to be filled with something meaningful. The question then becomes, how do you fill that void in a way that truly benefits your life and helps you grow? When I first transitioned into a life of greater freedom, I found myself struggling with this. I had envisioned that after freeing myself from the typical work week, I would immediately dive into all the things I had been too busy for: traveling, learning, and pursuing long-forgotten hobbies. And yet, after the novelty wore off, I found myself sitting around, unsure of how to structure my days. It was like having all the time in the world and, at the same time, none of it seemed meaningful. That's when I realized the most important lesson of all. Having freedom without purpose is a fast track to feeling lost. The key to avoiding this aimless feeling lies in how you fill your time and how you approach the activities that now take up your day. The first thing you need to do is shift your mindset from consumption to contribution. Many people, once they achieve freedom, fall into the trap of thinking the goal is to spend their time on leisure, consumption, or self-indulgence. While relaxation and enjoyment are important, they should not be the only things filling your time. Instead, focus on activities that lead to growth and contribute to something bigger than just yourself. For me, this meant embracing learning. I dedicated time to reading books that expanded my understanding of the world, picking up new skills that aligned with my interests, and challenging myself intellectually. It didn't just fill the time, it created a sense of progress and personal fulfillment. I realized that even in a life of freedom, growth is essential to maintaining a sense of purpose. The more I learned, the more I felt connected to a greater purpose, beyond just existing day to day. Hobbies can be another great way to fill the void. Often, people are so focused on work and financial success that they neglect the things they truly enjoy. Once you have the time, you can rediscover the hobbies and activities that once brought you joy, whether that's painting, writing, cooking, or any other creative outlet. For me, I revisited my love for photography, something I had pushed aside during the hustle years. The beauty of engaging in hobbies is that it doesn't matter whether they are productive or not in the traditional sense. What matters is that they allow you to express yourself, feel accomplished, and recharge. These hobbies give your day structure and purpose, without the pressure to perform. I began creating photo projects just for the joy of it, not because I had to sell prints or showcase them. It was my time to reconnect with something that brought me peace and fulfillment, without an agenda. Volunteering is another powerful way to fill your time with purpose. When you have the luxury of freedom, you have the opportunity to use that time to make a difference in someone else's life. Volunteering doesn't just benefit others. It helps you develop a sense of contribution, and it can be deeply fulfilling. You're no longer focused solely on your own needs or desires, but are actively engaging in something that helps the community. The great thing about volunteering is that it can align with your personal values, whether that's teaching, mentoring, or helping those in need. It's an opportunity to create meaningful connections while making a positive impact. For me, volunteering became a way to both contribute and grow. I mentored a young entrepreneur who was just starting out, and through that process, I learned just as much as I taught. It gave me a renewed sense of purpose in my work and life. Ultimately, creating a balanced lifestyle that includes work, play, and rest is essential to filling that void in a healthy way. The danger of freedom is that, without structure, you might fill your days with distractions or indulge in mindless activities like binge-watching TV or endlessly scrolling through social media. While these can be enjoyable in moderation, they don't contribute to long-term growth or fulfillment. That's why it's important to be intentional with your time. I started creating a weekly schedule that included time for learning, work, even if it was something I enjoyed doing, like my writing, and rest. I made sure I had a mix of productivity and relaxation, ensuring that both my mind and body were being nurtured. I also made a point to schedule social activities and moments of reflection, so I wouldn't fall into the trap of isolation or burnout. A balanced lifestyle is key to maintaining your well-being and keeping the feeling of aimlessness at bay. Filling the void when you have freedom isn't about running away from responsibility, it's about choosing to fill your time with meaningful, growth-oriented activities. It's about creating a life where each day holds purpose, whether it's through learning, creating, volunteering, or simply spending quality time with the people you love. The freedom you've gained allows you to escape the traditional pressures of work, but it's what you choose to do with that freedom that ultimately gives you a deeper sense of fulfillment. By focusing on growth, contribution, and balance, you can avoid feeling lost and instead design a life that feels rich with meaning. 9. Fear setting. Fear is one of the most significant barriers to progress. It holds us back from making bold decisions, stepping outside our comfort zones, and ultimately achieving the freedom we seek. We often sit paralyzed, stuck in a cycle of what-ifs and worst-case scenarios that prevent us from moving forward. We fear failure, rejection, or uncertainty, and as a result, we procrastinate and delay taking action. However, one of the most transformative tools for overcoming this fear and unlocking your potential is a simple yet powerful exercise called fear setting. By confronting your fears head-on, you can break through the paralysis that holds you back and make decisions with confidence and clarity. When I first started applying fear setting to my own life, I was amazed at how much power it gave me. The idea of listing out my fears, no matter how irrational they seemed, was both intimidating and liberating. It made the overwhelming anxiety I often felt about big decisions feel less abstract and more manageable. The process, which is a concept popularized by Tim Ferriss in the 4-Hour Workweek, involves 3 key steps: defining your fears, assessing the worst-case scenarios, and creating contingency plans. The goal isn't to eliminate fear completely. After all, fear is a natural and often useful emotion, but to understand it so that it no longer holds you back from taking meaningful action. The first step in fear setting is to list out all the worst-case scenarios associated with the decision you're contemplating. This might sound counterintuitive. After all, don't we usually avoid thinking about the worst-case scenarios because they're too uncomfortable? But by confronting them directly, you strip them of their power. Instead of feeling like a vague, looming threat, they become concrete and manageable. For example, when I was considering quitting my full-time job to work for myself, my mind was flooded with worst-case scenarios. I could run out of money, my business could fail, I might regret the decision and struggle to find another job. These fears seemed insurmountable at first, but once I wrote them down, they became less overwhelming. I could see exactly what I was afraid of, and that was the first step toward overcoming it. Once you've listed the worst-case scenarios, the next step is to assess the likelihood of these things actually happening. This is where you really start to gain perspective. When I looked at my list of fears, I realized that many of them were not as likely to happen as I had imagined. Yes, I could fail at my business, but the chances of losing everything and never being able to recover were much smaller than my mind had convinced me. I also realized that many of the worst outcomes weren't as catastrophic as I had initially feared. In the case of quitting my job, even if my business failed, I could always return to another form of employment or pivot to a different path. The realization that the worst-case scenarios weren't as final or devastating as I had thought helped reduce the grip fear had on me. The third step in the fear-setting process is to create contingency plans for the worst-case scenarios. This is where you take control of the uncertainty and reduce risk. The more specific and actionable your contingency plans are, the more confident you will feel in your decision-making. For instance, if my business didn't succeed, I could outline a clear plan for how I would get back on my feet. I could start a new side hustle, look for freelance opportunities, or seek temporary employment while figuring out my next steps. These backup plans gave me a sense of security and helped me feel that no matter what happened, I wouldn't be left in a position of complete helplessness. It was like having a safety net that I could trust if things didn't go as planned. Knowing I had options allowed me to move forward without the paralyzing fear of failure. However, fear setting isn't just about managing risk, it's also about focusing on the potential benefits and long-term impact of taking action. It's easy to get so caught up in worst-case thinking that you forget to consider the upside, the things that can go right. When I looked at my decision to leave my job through the lens of potential benefits, I realized that the rewards far outweighed the risks. By taking action, I could achieve the lifestyle I wanted, have the freedom to pursue projects that mattered to me, and create something that was truly my own. This perspective shift was incredibly powerful, as it made the fear of failure seem small compared to the possibility of success and the chance to build a life on my own terms. The potential for growth, fulfillment, and impact far outweighed the uncertainty and fear of what might go wrong. Fear setting is a tool that works not just for career decisions but for any area of life where fear is holding you back. Whether you're thinking about making a big career change, traveling to a new country, starting a business, or pursuing a passion project, fear setting helps you break down the barriers of uncertainty. The process allows you to see fear for what it really is, not an insurmountable obstacle, but a series of manageable challenges that you can prepare for and address. It takes away the mystery of what's holding you back and gives you a clearer path forward. When you start making bold decisions without being paralyzed by fear, you unlock your potential and open up a world of possibilities. Fear setting gives you the courage to take action and step into the unknown with confidence. By focusing on the worst-case scenarios, assessing their likelihood, creating contingency plans, and reminding yourself of the long-term benefits, you can make decisions that align with your true goals and desires. Fear doesn't have to control you. It can be a tool for growth and clarity when you confront it head-on. Fear setting is about making bold moves, creating a plan, and moving forward regardless of the fear that naturally arises along the way. Fear setting is a powerful tool to overcome paralysis and make bold decisions by confronting your fears directly. The process involves listing the worst-case scenarios, assessing their likelihood, and creating actionable contingency plans to reduce risk. By focusing on the potential benefits and long-term impact of taking action, fear setting helps shift your perspective from avoidance to growth. It allows you to break free from uncertainty, gain confidence in your choices, and take meaningful steps toward your goals, whether in your career, personal life, or any area where fear is holding you back. Fear setting transforms fear into an actionable path to success.